Order luck.
Alright guys, this is a video I've been wanting to make for a very long time because this is something I've personally struggled with, and I've seen countless people also suffer the same thing as me. And honestly guys, I've gone manic over this. I browsed Reddit for hours just searching up, Psychonaut wiki, looking at Discord servers, talking to people about it, watching YouTube videos about it, and all sorts of other things. And I finally figured it out, so this is the only video you'll ever need to get over a bad LSD or psilocybin trip. So let's talk about it.
And time don't wait for us. She says she ain't gonna wait for love.
So let's do a brief introduction on what is a bad trip. Well, a bad trip to me is pure horror. Alright, if you've ever had a bad trip, it is easily, without a doubt, the worst day of your entire life. It is pure horror. It's not terror. It's not creepy shit. It's just horror. And most of it revolves around existential horror. So existentialism, maybe a bit of solipsism, maybe some philosophy mixed in. But usually, from what I've witnessed with everyone I've talked to, it usually is existential. Now, the most common thing I've heard when people talk about having a bad trip is they usually experience some form of solipsism or some form of nihilism, in a sense to where they feel like they're in a matrix, they feel like they're in a simulation or some shit, or they just feel like they're alone in the world, or like solipsism, like they feel like reality is fake. They feel like they're almost in some synthetic trip, and that's what it was like for my case. I still remember it very vividly like it happened yesterday, but it was 4 years ago, and I can safely say I've gotten over everything. And in the next video, guys, I'll be telling you all about flashbacks and how to get over that as well. But for me, what I've noticed is that throughout the years, it always came down to one thing, and that is the truth. Alright, we gotta pay attention to the facts and reality of this.
And after 4 weeks, 2 breaks first. Smoking leaf in the bridge, rolling paper.
So these hallucinogenic compounds are extremely sacred, extremely powerful, and probably the most profound thing you can go through in your life. But let's stop right there and actually pay attention to the facts, alright? So a lot of the time, when people have these horror trips, 9 times out of 10, it revolves around some form of delusion or some form of existential fear, which I consider delusion or paranoia, whatever you want to call it, alright? For me, it was solipsism. I felt like I was the only thing existing, I felt like nothing was real, and I felt like a pure solipsist where I believed reality was fake. Well, let's pay attention to the facts, alright? And the fact is, I took a mind-altering drug. So my brain chemistry is forever altered, alright? I've seen stuff that my brain normally could not do on its own. But think about it, that's just me. That's just my brain. The earth is still spinning, and I mentioned that in a lot of videos, but it's a true fact you gotta keep sacred to you. The earth is still gonna spin. Alright, you're not the first person to take a drug. You didn't mess up reality. You didn't break no simulation. None of these delusions that you usually get from experiencing this existential horror is true. People have been using these substances for thousands of years, alright? You're not the first person to experience this. So the point I'm trying to make is it is all your own beliefs, alright? Your mind is really over matter, alright? Whatever you believe in will come true in a sense. And that is like the law of attraction type shit. I'm gonna get onto that in a whole nother video, but basically I'm saying what you believe in is what you're gonna manifest. So for me, I felt like I was in the matrix. I felt truly alone, and I was starting to see my reality start to distort almost. I was going delusional. I was going paranoid. I was getting anxiety. I was freaking out, and that's what was triggering flashbacks. That's what was triggering these visuals. I was making myself trip out and visualize these things because I truly felt that, and I was clinging on to this feeling, this false belief, when the fact is, all I did was take a drug.
Call me money, I still skate to her. Pretend my feet don't hurt so I can say.
So to start, everything that you're manifesting, every fear, is all in your control, alright? It's all in your head. And this goes for weed too, alright? If you smoke weed after having a bad trip, you'll tend to get flashbacks or paranoid, or weed just won't be the same. And the reason for that is because you're letting those feelings and thoughts get to your head, alright? Weed has always been the same drug, alright? It's not the weed making you paranoid, it's yourself. Because you could have a flashback right now if you really make yourself. So there's 2 points you gotta know, alright? You gotta respect the drug, alright? These drugs are not to be messed around with, and they'll tell you that too. They'll teach you it. And I believe that is God, alright? And when I say God, I'm not saying God is through that drug. I'm saying God is everywhere, alright? All the time. Even as you're watching this video, and if you don't want me to use the word God, let's use the word universe, alright? Or fate, alright? It's your fate and the universe telling you, alright? It's basically a protective barrier. It's not gonna mess you up, alright? There's a reason it's tripping you out. And truth be told, I just believe they're not to be abused like that, alright? My friends used to tell me, you gotta respect the drug when I first got into tripping, and I was like, nah bro, I'm gonna have some fun, I'm gonna do me, and then I abused it, and then what do you know, I had one bad trip, traumatized me for a few years. I thought I was genuinely schizophrenic, I was losing my mind, and let me tell you, the same thing happens to everyone I know. I've told so many people, you gotta respect it, because if you don't respect it, this will happen, and 9 times out of 10, they don't listen, they disrespect it, and they learn the hard way, alright? And to me, that's a form of karma. So it's all in your head, alright? You gotta pay attention to the facts. You gotta look at the truth. You gotta get the truth down, alright? Now let's say you can't. Let's say you're having a really hard time believing what I'm saying, or you're paranoid right now, or you just can't agree. You're having a hard time actually applying this to yourself. Well, let me tell you this, alright? Let's say everything you believe is true. Let's say all your delusions, all your anxiety, all your paranoia is true. Let's say I'm just a figment of your imagination and it's all bullshit, alright? You're just in your head, you're bugging out, it's all true, alright? I'm not real type shit. Let's say that is true. You can't even prove it, alright? And even if you could prove it, does it have an effect on your life at all? Really think about it, because I saw that in a Reddit comment and I was bugging out. I was going schizo, and I don't like using Reddit to like validate my beliefs, but truly someone said if solipsism was true, right? If these if the anxiety you're having is true, the paranoia is true, let's say you really fucked up your head, alright? Let's say every delusion and belief you have is true. Does it make a difference? Like really? What is it? Alright, let's say you fucked up. Let's say you're insane. Let's say you're schizophrenic, alright? And the world's fake. What effect does that have? Nothing. So what? Alright, let's say you're in hell right now. We could even go that far. What does that change anything? Can you even tell? Probably not. I don't fucking know. But basically I'm saying it has no effect on what you believe. You get to choose what you believe, alright? So to me, what I think about this is it really doesn't matter, alright? Let's say it's all true. It makes no difference on your life, alright? It's not gonna end the world, alright? You're not gonna all of a sudden see simulation 404 error or some shit, or you're not gonna get killed by a killer, you know? It's what I like to think of it is the reason you see patterns while tripping is because your mind starts working in patterns. And because it's working in patterns and it's all disoriented and distorted and shit, you start to make connections to things that aren't there, right? And I've been through the tripping phase. I've tripped many times. It's been years since I've done it. Would I do it again? No, because I don't need to. There's no reason for me to go back into that headspace, right?
Just to keep my memory, I'm laying wide awake. Diamonds in her eyes cut through me like a blade.
But I'll tell you right now that if you have true faith, alright, you just trust everything, right? You're going with the flow type shit. Basically what I'm saying is you have to accept. You have to make a full acceptance to whatever chaos it is, alright? Whether it's absurdism, whether it's God, whether it's everything everywhere, all at once type shit, you know what I mean? You gotta accept it. Because if you're trying to look for answers into this endless abyss and rabbit hole, you're not gonna find any answers at all. And even if you did find answers, what difference does it make? Alright? Are you just gonna roll over and cry? Let your anxiety get to you and just tweak out? That's what I did for years, right? And it got me nowhere. So that's my solution. It comes down to acceptance, looking at the facts, and honestly just having faith. Just trusting whatever you went through, right? Now, you don't have to go back there, or you can even. I could even trip again if I wanted to. But what I'm saying here is it just comes down to yourself. It's really, the trauma is in your hands, right? And I've done a lot of research on flashbacks, and what I've learned is it's the exact same as PTSD flashbacks. Hallucinogenic flashbacks are the exact same. They act the exact same in the same regions of the brain type shit. But the only difference is because it was such a profound experience, your brain is like really vividly remembering it. You know what I mean? So I don't even get flashbacks anymore. I used to get that same feeling, that horror and shit, you know, and it would feel over my whole soul, you know, it would feed off me, and it was the worst feeling of my life, right? But I don't even get that anymore because I accept it, you know? I don't even care. It can't hurt me, you know? To me, having this faith or having this not giving a shit or whatever you want to call it, it's like you could see the horror of reality. You could see the scary shit of the world, but you got a glass barricade protecting you, you know? It's like you're at a zoo and there's a spooky ass rhino looking at you, but there's a glass barrier that it can't break. That's what it means to be fearless. That's what it means to have faith and trust and to just not really give a shit. So there you guys have it. I really hope you learned something new. This is the only video you'll ever need to hear about this, right? So I've studied this. I've spent probably 1,000 hours researching this just because I was manic and insane type shit. But that's the honest truth I can give you. And if you believe this, it'll save your life. All right, guys? I love you all so much. I pray for you. God bless you all. Have a blessed day. Peace, boys.